What new study reveals about effects of physical activity on body weight metabolic rate? The observations are a reinterpretation of an earlier study for which researchers had observed 14 contestants of a reality TV show in which people competed to lose weight through rigorous exercise and dieting. A study performed on the contestants of The Biggest Loser, a reality TV show, found that while the contestant lost a huge amount of weight over a short period of time, typically over a 30-week period, they also had slow metabolism rates and low levels of a hormone that affects hunger. The Biggest Loser is a reality TV show in which obese contestants compete to lose weight through rigorous exercise and dieting. The study was published in the journal Obesity in 2016 after researchers observed 14 contestants both during a season and after filming stopped. The study said that 6 years after the contestant took part in the show, most of them had regained much of the weight they had lost and their metabolism rates had slowed down. In other words, after 6 years, most contestants were heavier and were burning fewer calories. Now, Kevin Hall, a senior investigator at the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Disease and one of the co-authors of the 2016 research, has provided a new interpretation of the study. His perspective, through which he tries to explain why the metabolic rate of the participants was low even after 6 years, was published in the Obesity last month. The 2016 study and its finding. In a detailed thread on Twitter, Hall said that during the competition, obese contestants performed 3 hours of vigorous exercise and cut their dietary calories by 65%. As a result, the exercise and dietary changes contestants experienced extremely rapid loss of weight and body fat. Now, because of the extreme exercise, the participants' total energy expenditure increased, but the resting metabolic rate RMR decreased, likely due to decrease in diet calories and active weight loss, Hall said on Twitter. RMR determines the number of calories that are burnt while the body is at rest. These are the calories that are essential for maintaining functions such as breathing, blood circulation, and basic neurological functions. Hall explains that these findings, weight loss and low RMR, were not expected. The RMR typically goes down during weight loss because of the body's reaction to it. The body will react to a person's weight loss as if it were starving. Therefore, when a person starts to lose weight, the RMR goes down. Slower metabolism in order to compensate for weight loss. What was surprising were the findings that came 6 years after the competition. The participants had regained weight, and while researchers expected that their RMRs would have gone back to original levels, it still remained low despite regaining two-thirds of the weight that they had lost. We had no explanation at the time, but simply concluded that was persistent metabolic adaptation, Hall said, reinterpreting the 2016 results. During the time 2016, Herman Poncher, an associate professor of evolutionary anthropology at Duke University, was studying physically active hunter gatherers and found that their RMR was not much different from those of sedentary Westerners. Poncher proposed a model based on his observations called the constant energy expenditure model, which says that increase in physical activity expenditure can result in compensatory reductions in other components of the energy budget. Hall notes that the participants they had observed had remained very physically active with a median 80% increase in physical activity than what they did before the competition. What researchers observed in the participants they studied is that the participants with the most metabolic adaptation, which resulted in decreased RMRs, were also the one who had the least weight regain. Significantly, those participants with the greatest sustained increase in physical activity were the most successful at avoiding weight regain. So, my interpretation of The Biggest Loser study is that persistent metabolic adaptation we observed after 6 years to decrease RMR may have been due to energy compensation as predicted by the constant energy expenditure model. They didn't destroy their metabolic, Hall said. In other words, the RMRs probably remained low even after 6 years because of continued physical activity, which also helped them regain weight. Thank you.